Welcome back, everyone. It is January 8th, 1942, and we're back with another episode of Alphabet Command, our co-op game of War in the Pacific Admirals Edition, with Evoken and I playing as the Allies against AndyMac, the War in the Pacific legend, creator of most of the War in the Pacific AI, as the Japanese. Let's see what this turn has in store for us. Have the normal unloading going on at Laihana. APD and an AMC kind of tussle with the coastal guns there. Onto the naval movement phase. Should be seeing some naval combat, we'll see. Yeah, there we go. So I have this light cruiser group which sorted from Sorayaba 2 days ago, then disbanded at a dot hex, so it wouldn't be attacked by naval naval attack by the air, and then sprinted full speed to catch this landing group at Kendari, and it did so successfully. I should be able to clean up these AKLs and the sub-chaser without too much trouble. Unfortunately, this landing task force probably has already offloaded all their units, all their supplies, so not going to do a lot of damage here overall, but still it's always nice to sink a few ships. And also it's nice to ensure that he doesn't feel safe operating here. I want to slow down his advance into the Dutch East Indies as much as I can, because the Dutch forces can get pretty powerful if you let them go, especially in Focus Pacific. If they have time to build up and recover disablements and get reinforcements, also gives me time to build some forts. In any case, we do have some Hudsons bombing Kuantan, still some planes stationed there, and we destroy 3 of them on the ground. Pretty effective night bombing, all things considered. And I had my ships go ahead and bombard Kendari. The first objective was the ships there, but I figured, hey, if they're there, might as well. And if the ships had moved away, I would still bombard anyway. But they're mostly out of ammo and don't do a lot of damage. A couple of high-value AMCs there, unloading at Laihana. Lahaina? Anyway, Maui. Let's just call it Maui. Daytime naval phase here. And the Ligeros misses this APD task force that we spotted with actually radio intel moving toward Laihana as well. And Evoken is sweeping Miri. We have some BR-697s supporting in a long-range cap roll. We take out Zero. He's going to be bombing Miri later today, so he just wants to get rid of that cap first. Now my BR-697s come in, also sweeping. Tojos, of course, go after Singapore. Bombers go after Singapore. Most of my fighters have left. I still have some damaged ones that I'm sure repaired today in the repair phase. So I may have some rising to meet his bombers, but not many. It's been given not many fighters. These poor buffaloes at Port Moresby are doing their darndest to protect shipping here. One of those buffaloes goes down, one Betty is destroyed. Yeah, so we do have some fragments of these fighter groups that were repaired today get caught up in the attack. doesn't do much good. Doesn't look like they took out any bombers or fighters. And this raid is going to do some good damage to Singapore, it looks like. Oh, looks like they might have managed to nab a Betty right at the end there. But one of those Blenheim IFs is destroyed on the ground. Blenheim IFs are terrible fighters. They're kind of a converted bomber that were converted just because Britain was so short on fighters at this time. Bombing at Hawaii. Some Liz's come in unescorted, but still, those trading groups aren't able to intercept. But these Buffaloes, yeah, should be able to take care of this Nell, and then they do. Gunner Kuching. Now, his bombers go after some of my French destroyers that I ran up here to try to disrupt the landings that were going on in this area. However, it looks like he already left, and so the destroyers are getting caught by Betty's probably flying from Rabaul, right on the edge of their range here. You do take out one flak and none are hit, thank goodness. It does look also that those Bettys are dropping bombs, not torpedoes, so it looks like they haven't brought the air headquarters to Rabaul yet. Well, sweeping over Tanjo, no effect. Sweeping over Singapore. One Lily comes in unescorted over Port Moresby. We do manage to take that out. This sweep of zeros, though, is going to be super painful. Yeah, 4 of my Buffaloes down. Hopefully I should be able to pull those Buffaloes back out in the near future. Bettys and Nell's doing damage here to Singapore's runway. Gonna make it tough for me to build forts. I think I'm only at Forts 4 at Singapore. I'd like to be at Forts 5. But I may not get there before everything's said and done. Of course, more bombing at Clark Field. Manila fell last turn, so Clark is the last base standing before Bataan. Good runway hits there. Not for us, but for AndyMac. Yeah, he seemed to have kind of found the sweet spot for altitude for his planes, except these sallies seem to go into a bit low. Yeah, 10,000 feet, and they pay the price. It's kind of one-sided bombing so far. It's all been AndyMac really using his Air Force to its full effect. But we're going to do some strikes too. Go after the runway here at Sambis. I just really want to keep this runway closed so he doesn't put cap in the air here and put bombers, which can threaten really everything in the DEI, in this side of the DEI. He puts Bettys there, they can strike pretty much anywhere in Java. And I don't want that. So, in a case, Mavis and a Zero destroyed. 13 runway hits, we'll take it. And Evoken uses B-17s, which he had stashed at Palembang, at one of my airfields, and starts hitting the refinery at Miri. 11 hits. 11 more hits for 22. 34. Oh, that's 35, I'm sorry. Bad math. 45. 47. So yeah, 47 hits there. It's a good amount. Also bombing east of Pegu. Again, going after these troops on the ground. This time I managed to bring some fighters. So my bombers are protected. They managed to escort the bombers in, though one is destroyed by flak. no damage done here right now. Betties come in, and my buffaloes are just too beat up. This could be bad for this invasion task force. Excuse me, this reinforcement task force. Okay, so far, we've escaped unscathed. But if we get more strikes like that, that could go really badly for us. Lots of runway hits here. And we lose a hurricane in the air, one of these training hurricanes. So much bombing. Another strike here. These training planes really aren't doing much of a job, but they're not really... Yeah, there really needs to be more of them for them to have an impact. As I've said before, the training mission really isn't the greatest to make intercepts with. And we're sweeping there at Tanjo. And we're on to the PM air phase. So sighting Betties go after the AM Mildura that's hanging out at Rinnell Island. Oh, I think that's... I actually sent it there with an XAK just to get the island some supplies because Evoken has an AVP there. It's going to be hosting some float planes at some point, I imagine. B-17s go after the runway at Anyang, doing 21 runway hits. Betty's again coming after my destroyers. Whew, and somehow they escaped unscathed. I think it's because of the altitude. Those Betties are coming in at 12,000 feet, which is very high to get good accuracy on destroyers. If he came in lower, I could be in trouble. Still 12,000 feet. Next turn, we'll just have to not be in range because I don't want to stick around in range of those Nels and Betties. Certainly tells us he has a lot of bomber power in the area that we're getting this many sorties on those destroyers. Betties go after my carriers here in the Band of Sea. Because I have a 13-0 escort. Hopefully my skilled French fighter pilots, even though they're in Buffaloes, hopefully they can handle this threat. Looks like they're going to be able to. Looks like I also have some incidental cap flying from Makassar as well that decides to help me out. It's always kind of nail-biting when you have Betties, which can carry torpedoes, going after your carriers. And we saw them get through the other day, so really hoping that we'll be able to fend them off this time. They did a good job against these Zeros, though, that's for sure. There we go, so the Zeros are dealt with. Now we're among the bombers. There's only 4 of them, so it looks like we may be able to take care of this flight. Last one, there we go, nice. Okay, I was kind of on the edge of my seat watching that. 4 Zeros, 2 Betties, downed, none of my Buffaloes down, so Really nice little engagement for my carrier planes there. Oh! So the Heroes, it looks like maybe put, 2 torpedoes into this APD. 49 casualties, nice to sink it at sea there. And we're going to be on to the land phase here. Huh. A Japanese shock attack way up here. Where do those forces even come from? It's really strange. So is Tank Regiment, Armored Car Company. Yeah, do a shock attack and they just get absolutely destroyed. Not sure what happened there. Really strange. They also shock attack at Chinkau. This will not go our way. If you look at the AV and the artillery here, compared to what we have, yeah, this is going to go poorly for the Chinese. Personally, I don't really like defending right here. I think you have to be a little bit further north with larger concentrations of troops to be effective. Yeah, ouch. 9,600 troops down. Take Nanning. The Japanese bombard at Clark. I can only think that he's just trying to wear down supplies at Clark Field because these bombardments just have not gone the way of the Japanese. And again, I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure why they're having so much trouble with bombardments at this hex. We do take 16 casualties, but they lose 13 guns. Shock attack at Kuching. I really don't have much left here. Luckily, neither does he. I do take 156 casualties, and forts are reduced to 0. So Kuching could fall any day. Oh, and we have a shock attack at Singapore. So he has crossed the river with a unit into Singapore. I imagine what he's doing, and this may seem sacrificial and stupid to send a unit over like this by itself, because it is just going to get decimated, and it does. Not completely destroyed, but pretty darn beat up. But what this has done is it's opened the hex side for him. So now he doesn't have to make any more automatic shock attacks crossing the river, and all his troops can just get across, no problem, without having to attack. So it really is in its advantage making this sacrifice. We continue to bombard at Port Moresby, to no effect this time. Also bombard at Pegu. Again, we're just ensuring that his troops stick in combat mode instead of move mode, just slowing them down a little bit, because they are looking to cross the river into Pegu. That hex side is controlled by him right now, which means just like in Singapore now, he can just cross the river without having to do a shock attack. So I do have one unit at Pegu heading east to make that crossing, and you'll see a shock attack with it in a few turns. Hopefully before he crosses, that will happen to close that hex side again, so that if he crosses, he'll have to do that shock attack. Allies bombard at Changsha. Evoken has quite a few units here. Oh, good bombardment. Take out a lot of Chinese. And it looks like that Evoken has brought the kitchen sink as far as artillery goes. China really doesn't have a lot of artillery, but it looks like it's all Maybe at Changsha, doing some good work there. Buin falls. And Mayor Gui falls. And Beaufort's gonna fall. So AndyMac continues his constant expansion. And that's it for the turn. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the Discord. Take care.